Dr. Aubrey C. Gail was born in Greensboro, North Carolina in the United States. He holds a Bachelor of Science from Springfield College in 1981 and a Doctorate of Chiropractic from Cleveland Chiropractic College in 1997. After 16 years of successful practice, Dr. Gail decided to take over the position of Clinic Director at Accessible Beltway Specialist Clinic and moved to Washington, D.C. to help with rehabilitation treatment for patients following accidental trauma. Before coming to Vietnam, Dr. Gail owned and managed 2 successful chiropractic clinics dedicated to the holistic practice of wellness in the United States. Subsequently, in 2018, Dr. Gail succumbed to his desire for adventure and began to seek opportunities outside the United States. After consideration of offers from all over the world, he decided to choose Vietnam as the new destination. Welcome to Station Vietnam on VTC 10, and I'm your host, Thu Giang. The guest speaker that we would like to introduce today is Dr. Aubrey C. Gail, an American chiropractor accompanying Vietnamese patients for nearly 5 years. Dr. Gail, thank you so much for joining our program today, and welcome to Station Vietnam.
Thank you, Zhang, and welcome to VTC 10 audience.
How did your journey of healthcare for Vietnamese people begin?
I've been practicing chiropractic for almost 25 years now, and during that time I've worked in a multitude of different practices. I started out, I had my own practice, 2 practices, 2 clinics, and did that for 16 years. I became a little frustrated with that whole thing, the insurance company's game. I said, okay, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to go work for somebody. And that was really a blessing because I worked in some medical clinics, I worked independently, and I think that really that gave me a lot more background, a lot more strength in terms of my clinical background. And then coming here, it really even improved even more because, you know, as a doctor, you always want to have your best clinical expertise in front of you or available to your patients. Otherwise, you know, you become kind of stale and stagnant. You see a lot of the same things day in and day out. And so when I got to Vietnam, I found that I had more opportunities to see a lot of different patient groups. So I see young adults, I see kids, I see geriatric, so I can see anywhere from an 18-month-old, or even younger, maybe even 2 or 3 months old, to 80 plus years old. So I have a really broad experience in terms of patient, and it makes me, I think, a better doctor, being able to see so many different things that I would never have the opportunity to see if I was still in the States.
Compared to other countries in the world, how do you evaluate the proportion of Vietnamese patients suffering from spinal cord disease? Is it high or low?
Well, you know, it's difficult to make that connection because in the United States, we have a reporting system that allows us to track all the patients. So they are monitored by insurance companies. And the insurance companies in turn track the statistics. So then we know that, for instance, a chiropractor sees, you know, 60% low back pain, 30% headaches. Another, let's say, 10% of that population would be sports injuries. Okay, so that really is kind of where we have that niche market. Here, it's dramatically different. I don't have a mechanism to track other than what we do here. It's difficult to say because living in the city, you know, we have a different population than we do in the countryside or in the provinces. And so consequently, the workforce is quite different. So we see a lot of office people who suffer from upper thoracic and neck pain. We see a lot of children here with flat feet. We see a fair amount of people with scoliosis as well. So it's a different population. So it's difficult to say really what the differences are.
From your perspective, what are the main subjects that often suffer from spinal cord disease?
Let's see. So I would say that, believe it or not, it's the people who do the least amount of labor here. So a lot of people sit for prolonged periods of time, and that tends to weaken the spinal musculature, the core musculature, and then it causes your posture to deform because you're always working out in front of you with your head like this. And so it makes a big difference. And you know, people come in, neck and shoulders, neck and shoulders, neck and shoulders, low back.
You know, I'm also an office worker, so I usually sit inappropriately. That's the reason why sometimes I feel not really comfortable with my neck and my shoulders. So we would like to know more about your treatment method, Dr. Gail.
So that when you are in that position for 8 hours a day or longer, maybe 10 or 12, depending on, you know, what your work environment is like, then you of course you're going to put a tremendous strain on your neck and shoulders, because your head always comes out over your shoulders, and the further it comes out, the more it weighs. Okay, so in a normal position it may weigh about 5 or 6 kilos, but as it goes forward it starts to weigh more, like say 20 kilos. So it's a tremendous strain. So now we have to correct that. We have to give you exercises to do at home, sometimes here in our rehab facility, depending on the severity, depending on the amount of degeneration that's present, then chiropractic adjustments as well, and then we have physiotherapy to help relax the muscles, stimulate the blood flow, break down any adhesions that are present in the musculature so that now the body is able to heal. We want you, and supplementation, of course. And if you have a bad diet, that too. If you smoke, get rid of that. All these things plan. We don't just look at you as one neck, one treatment. We look at you over a multitude of different treatments so we can give you the best results. And also, you know, you're going to have to make modifications in your lifestyle. So that's really the key.
As a practicing chiropractor for well over 22 years, Dr. Gail chose this field as it is one of the world's largest natural healing professions, which seeks to identify the root cause of patients' problem. He combined his knowledge of chiropractic with nutrition and exercise in order to create a total health experience for the patient.
It's really very helpful for me, especially for me because I work for standing for a long time, and I work in the hotel, so I need to stand for maybe 6 hours per day, and it's very, very helpful for me, and especially on my back. And actually, the first time I came here, they just told me about my condition. Dr. Aubrey just explained to me what is my condition, and he just explained to me what are the treatments that he's going to advise, and also he just give me some exercises here and 4 kinds of treatment.
Dr. Gail has worked at American Chiropractic Clinic for nearly 5 years in Vietnam. He was initially rather apprehensive, as it was a whole different world from the comfort zone he has lived and worked in his entire life. His fears were unfounded, as Dr. Gail is now happily settled, enjoying both his professional as well as personal life in Hanoi. After nearly 5 years working and treating Vietnamese patients, do you have any special affection for Vietnam, for our country and our people?
Of course I do. I like Vietnam quite a bit. You know, I like the people. The people are different from place to place. You know, if you're in Ho Chi Minh, for instance, or here, or if you're at the beach in Da Nang, then of course people are a little bit different. But overall, very friendly, very accommodating, and very kind. You know, I find that being invited into even some of my patients' homes for a dinner or a meal, or being given even gifts it surprises me, you know, that I never had that before. So yes, I like being here. I like feeling appreciated, and of course I appreciate the opportunity to take care of the Vietnamese people.
What advice would you like to give for Vietnamese people to prevent from spinal cord disease?
Wow, the biggest prevention that they can do, the biggest thing they can do is make appropriate lifestyle changes. So, for instance, for like yourself, you know, you sit a long time during the process of the day. What do you do after that? Do you go to the gym, or do you go home and watch TV? Do you eat the appropriate types of food, of course, and trying to keep the food as clean as possible as well. It's a little bit more difficult to find organic produce here and organically raised meat, but it's possible, but it's really difficult. So, you know, making the appropriate lifestyle changes. We have a lot of smokers in Vietnam as well, so it's difficult. That's a problem. And a lot of white rice is a problem as well. I will say that you eat a lot of fruit here. You eat more fruit than I've ever seen anybody eat in my entire life. And I've got a lot of variety of fruit as well. So I've been exposed to that, and I like, you know, having that opportunity to do so.
Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Gail, for your useful insights on healthcare for Vietnamese people to treat and prevent from spinal cord disease. We also wish you all the best in your journey ahead in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you, Zay. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
The following reportage will end Station Vietnam Talk Show today. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next Saturday at 9 p.m. on VTC 10. Goodbye. After nearly 5 years of working with chiropractic and Vietnamese patients, Dr. Gail has been attacked to the S-shaped country, where he could fulfill the mission and vision of a doctor in the journey of comprehensive health care for people.
I love Vietnam and want to dedicate every day. I feel blessed and proud of being welcomed to this land by the valued patients and people I meet. This is also the reason for me to keep trying every day.